win on Saturday, and then the upcoming game at Army this coming Saturday. With that, Coach has some opening statements, then we'll take questions.
Very good. Thank you, John. We appreciate everyone being here. It's a good start, 1-0, first time since 2010. What we're also very proud of is the fact that over the course of the last 3 seasons, we've collectively put 8 wins straight together in UB Stadium. I know our players and our coaching staff takes a lot of pride in that. That's what I saw out there Saturday. The game day experience was unbelievable. And I had plenty of people tell me that what we're doing here at UB is something special. So I appreciate everyone, our fans, the walk to victory, Stampede Square, all the things that we're trying to do to really build a big-time game day atmosphere, and it's going that way, and our kids feel that. We started fast, we finished strong, and we were tested. We had some adversity. I was really pleased with the way we were able to close out the game. A 9-play, 97-yard drive, capped off with a touchdown, and be able to go 16 plays. And a 75-yard drive really demonstrated to me that the kids will fight for one another, and I was really pleased with that. Joe Licata had a solid day, hitting about 8 different receivers. Ronnie, we know, had a record day, his best day up to date, and we're certainly going to need him to continue to do that. Defensively, I liked what we did in terms of stopping the rush. They're going to be tested this week in terms of the triple option with Army, running the ball. But I was really pleased with, the way we were able to get some of our sub-packages involved in the game plan defensively. And we were over 80% efficient, which is a very good number. So we're going to need that. Special teams, I really was pleased with Pat Clark and his play. He had 7 kickoffs. He was averaging over 64 yards, 3 touchbacks. Obviously that's a big-time effort by him. I know we missed that 1 field goal, but, he was perfect on the PATs, and we're going to continue needing his leadership and his playmaking ability. Tyler Grassman, punter, he's been real solid for us. The one thing that I will say, and everyone saw it, is we need to do a better job of communicating with our returners and making better decisions. And that was certainly something that we cannot afford to let happen. And we've spoken to those young men, and we take a lot of pride here at UB to be football intelligent and instinctive. And that's one of those things that we need to continue to emphasize. Every game brings on a new challenge, exciting new opportunity. Army this week presents that for us. We believe in the second week we see the most improvement in our football team. What we don't know is much about Army's. We've seen their players from last year, but it's a brand new coaching staff, and they didn't play last week. So there's not a lot on them that I can go on. I can't watch film from last week's game, but we have been piecing together things where these coaches have been from. We know Coach Monk is an outstanding football coach. His staff, as he's assembled, outstanding coaches, and I'm certainly, looking forward to the challenge I know our players are. So with that, we'll look forward to answering any of your questions that you may have.
Okay, Coach. Why don't you just start off? Duquesne averaged the running backs at 2.4 a carry Saturday. Just what did you think went right in terms of the run defense?
I just think we were all sound in our alignments. I think when you line up and against all the different formations that they did, I thought we were very gap sound. Certainly playing off those blocks, recognizing and keying in on your reads and being able to react properly, pursuing the ball. Obviously, we had a number of guys at the point of attack. We'll certainly be tested this week. So, I think when we left that game, that was something we take a lot of pride in our defense, with our coaching staff and our players, that we know how to defend and stop the run.
Christian, what kind of challenges is Army going to present that maybe Duquesne didn't in the run game?
Well, it's a great question. Army's very unique. The way they run the ball is different from just about any other school. Their offensive line plays a lot lower. They come off almost like defensive linemen, but it's a new challenge, and we just have to respond, and our coaches are giving us a great game plan, and we're going to have a good week of practice, and we have to respond Saturday to the new challenge they bring us.
When do you start looking at video of the opponent? I mean, have you seen much of Army yet? Right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Do you start Sunday, Monday?
Usually start Monday. Sometimes Sunday, get a head start, but usually start Monday to watch them. And as the week goes on, you get more and more confident. And you feel more and more ready to play the game. Film helps.
Army, the dive play. you know, you're
Yeah.
going to be right on the front lines there. I mean, is it? Yeah, is your perception? You're going to see a ton of double teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we focus on is focusing on our keys. You know, not trying to do too much. You know, I gotta see the center and the two guards, and the tackles have to see the tackles and the guards, and you know, goes on from there. You know, we try to focus on our keys, and you know, try not to do too much on defense.
How important was that lesson you guys learned last week about not letting an opponent get back into the game, and how do you think you'll apply that in future weeks?
Yeah, it's very important. You know, it proves that anybody can come back into a game. Nothing against Duquesne; they showed a great fight in the second half, but you can't get away from your fundamentals, whether it's on defense or offense. And for a little bit, we got away from our fundamentals, I thought, and we made some mental errors. But the important thing is we were able to respond and come back, and you know, we really dealt with that adversity well as a team, and we really came together as a defense and as an offense on the sideline, and we were getting guys going, and we were able to respond.
For both of you, is there something special, something different about playing one of the service academies?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I'm very thankful for what those guys do for our country. I appreciate their support very much, and it's an honor to be on the same field with them, and to battle with them and play against those guys. Those guys are great competitors, so it'll be an honor. Yeah.
I could certainly go back to one of my experiences as a coach. I was at Central Michigan, and we went there and played back in 2005 was that we went there. And that was my first opportunity playing one of the service academies right there at West Point. And, I know how important it was to our football team and our players. That was an experience beyond the field. And that's really what our program is built on, is more than just football. And we know that this game is going to be played, and it's going to be important. But you think about all the great men and women that have defended our country. It's certainly something special. And when I came here as the head coach, it was one of the topics of conversation I had with Danny. Number one, it's an in-state school, and certainly we know that it's an important game. We wanted an opportunity to compete against the best, not just on the field but off the field, and it's going to be a great afternoon. There's a lot of special things that go on in surrounding the game. Friday and Saturday before the game, so on and so forth. So I know our kids are going to take a lot out of it, and we respect them. We respect every individual that's ever put on the uniform and defended our many freedoms that we enjoy and blessed with today.
You got to walk through Friday, right? At the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else planned with the team, like to tour the West Point campus?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was one of the things I remember back in 2005. We took the tour, went to the museum, learned more about the history of our country and West Point in particular. So we are going to take a little bit of time to do that as a football team, and I've always believed in that. Not just this game, but even like last year. We went to Kent State. We went to the to the Hall of Fame. I think those are all important things for our kids to experience. That athletics does bring an opportunity to you that you don't normally get. So we're certainly pleased to be able to do that, and we look forward to it.
Jeff, to piggyback off Stu's previous question about not letting a lead slip away, but important lessons gleaned there from that. What can you take from that?
Just that they understand that the game is played with 11 guys on the field, and certainly that our kids were tested early. I always talk about starting fast, finishing strong, and how do we handle adversity in that game. What I was pleased with is the sidelines. Just the leadership of our coaching staff, our players. Just the way they were encouraging each other and, fighting to the bitter end. That's what I want. I want a football team that competes to the echo of the whistle every play, every snap, and that's what we had to do. And when they took the lead, listen, there's a lot of teams that might have said, hey, and maybe even previous years when I first got here, we weren't able to come back from those situations. Well, that wasn't the case. And we saw that last year. We've built on that, and this year. Certainly, we knew what should be the outcome. It was just interesting how we got there, so it definitely is a learning lesson, and I think our kids understand. Now they got a game under their belt. You know, it's different playing the game as opposed to practicing. You know, now we have some film and our coaches, we've been able to go back and say, hey, now you remember what we were talking about in camp and spring ball and so on and so forth. You know, this is why we're asking you to do it this way and so on and so forth. And then it's their responsibility relative to, you know, how they get ready and how they perform, you know, for 4 quarters. And we got to continue to, you know, aid and assist them, you know, through that process. But we saw 51 players playing that game. And so, you know, I felt like each of them got a valuable experience, and we move on. It's behind us now. I haven't even been thinking much about, you know, Saturday's game. I've been so focused on, you know, this upcoming one, and that's the way our minds work. 24 hours, we're done. And I know we're talking about it today, but it certainly is something that I'm excited to see our kids, you know, see that improvement from week 1 and week 2.
Jeff, how different is the triple option that Army's going to run now, different than the one they ran last year and different than the one that Jeff Monken ran at Georgia Southern?
Yeah, very, you know, again, triple option. You know, you're going to see, you know, 2 slots, a T slot, an A slot, the fullback, quarterback under center. You know, they're going to run some midline. They're going to run some trap. You know, they're going to run some double option, triple option. They have a couple different schemes that they like to execute. You know, they're very low off the ball, as Christian was saying. And, you know, what we have to do is be very disciplined. You know, we need to play extremely low at our pad level, play extremely hard, tough, physical. We know it's going to be something also where, you know, they're going to be, you know, those kind of offenses, if you let them, you know, can chop up a lot of clock, you know, and just kind of grind it out on you. And then all of a sudden one time they pull it back and they shoot it down the field. The same guy that's blocking you is the same guy that's running down the field. So, you know, you have to be very disciplined. And so, you know, it's a great test for our kids, mentally, physically, emotionally. But, you know, they executed very well. You know, Jeff Monken last year when he was the head coach at Georgia Southern beat Florida. You know, so we know that, you know, they have a good understanding of their system, as we do with our system, you know, and we have a plan, and we'll prepare that plan, and we'll be ready to go.
What can you say about, like, the edge defender there? You know, I mean, they like to get him making the wrong, or they play off him, the quarterback. He's, you know, bites on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, so do you, without giving anything away, I mean, you know, you're going to have, like, you got to school that person on the rules for how you want him to play it.
Sure, we knew this game was coming, so we're not just preparing 3 days. we've been preparing quite some time, you know, and I appreciate my coaching staff in terms of formulating a plan. So it's important that now, when they've had a little time in spring ball, they've had time in the fall camp, we've dedicated to this. I think that's the best thing that you could be doing, you know, to get them more familiar. It's not something you see common every week. Matter of fact, it's been a while since, you know, we've, even I, myself personally, you know, defended. But all those coaches on my defensive staff have seen it. They've defended it. And, you know, it's going to be exciting for our kids to go out there and play. It's still football. You know, it's still pad level. It's still hand placement. It's still footwork. You know, it's eye discipline, mind discipline. You know, we all know that's a big part of this, and we have to be able to do that and be sound in our tackling fundamentals. Certainly, there's going to be some one-on-one opportunities to make those plays. We need to be, you know, doggone near perfect to do that, and then pursue, get off the blocks, you know, and pursue the ball, and then, you know, hopefully create some disruption. So they don't, you know, they can put the ball on the ground potentially and give us an opportunity to gain some momentum in that game.
What kind of adjustments is the secondary going to be making in practice this week? To anything different you guys are trying?
Well, it's just they need to know their responsibility relative to the game plan, you know, and the fundamentals don't change. So they're still working on it, you know, playing the ball in the air. You know, we work on that every day. Coach Lewis, my defensive back coach, and Coach Dietzel, they work on that every day. You know, same thing with Coach Tepp. So, you know, to say we're changing it, we want to improve. That's more, we know exactly how to coach those things, and they know how to, you know, respond and react in those situations. It's just a matter of getting out in the game and seeing it unfold, you know, as opposed in practice. I've seen our secondary play, you know, the ball many, many times in the air, you know, and vice versa. We saw Ronnie Willoughby go up and take the ball away, you know, which is exciting. So, you know, that's part of getting better as a football player and focus on your assignment and the plan and where your responsibility is relative to the calls and the system we have in place.
Will Marcus Baker be playing in the game?
No, he will not.
Anthony Taylor had 30 carries. Devin and Jordan only combined for 15. You said after the game you weren't really a fan of Anthony's ball carrying in the game. Will we see Devin and Jordan maybe get more carries?
Well, I think what we need to do is Anthony knows his responsibility, and he's accepted that responsibility. You know, the one time he put the ball on the ground, Jake Silas was right there. And, it's kind of, hey, I got your back, and that quick moment could change things quickly. The other one, he was down. He needs the ball security. We take a lot of pride in that. And our running back, Coach Simon, he works on ball security every day. He just needs to lock in throughout the competing to the echo to whistle. To say that we're going to, add more plays to this guy over that guy, everything is situational. We try to make sure that we understand that all three of them have to be prepared and ready. They're all involved in the plan. They work extremely hard to get themselves prepared. So I think it's going to be an exciting year to watch all three of them. And I think everyone got a little glimpse of what all three can do. But I thought Anthony, he ran a 5-yard inside gap play for a touchdown, which was as impressive of a run. He ran hard. He ran physical. And we're going to really rely upon him along with those other two guys. I liked what I saw out of Jordan. I loved what I see out of Devin. And we're going to see all three of them.
You talked about finishing strong. I think what's one of the first things you said. Going back to Saturday's game, I think it was in the fourth quarter, right after you guys had regained the lead. Their first down play, Adam came off the edge and sacked them to kind of stunt any of their momentum on that drive. How big was that play? Does that kind of exemplify what he kind of brings at any time he could just make a play that could completely change the game?
Well, I look forward to those moments. Believe me, every moment I'm anticipating something great to happen. I don't think about what bad can happen. I always think about what great can happen. And that's what I saw on that play. And he obviously enjoys those moments. And, you know that he's such a tremendous competitor that he's going to come up big. And that's what you love about a football team that has a bunch of guys who are hungry to compete every single snap. And Adam Redden has been one of those guys. So was that a big play? Absolutely. No, but there was a lot of big plays that we needed to make, especially when we were tested. And they stepped up. Now, what we have to be able to do is do that, maybe against a little bit better competition as the weeks go on and see where it all ends up. But I've been really pleased with his leadership and, his passion for the game.
What do you see on the defensive unit playing with him? Maybe that's evolved over the last couple of years, or what do you see from him this year?
Please restate the question.
Like what have you seen playing with Adam Redden this year? As compared to last year, maybe anything different in terms of leadership on the quality?
I'll be honest, he was a great leader last year as well. And he brought great intensity to the game. I think he had something over 10 tackles for a loss in the season. The production shows, and he's also a good leader. But he's even gotten better. This camp, I think he made a lot of big plays, and I'm very excited to see what he can do this year for us because he's an explosive guy. He can change direction. He's very fast, and he gives tackles a headache, pass rushing on them, especially on, 3rd and long. And, when we stop him on 1st and 2nd down, I'm more than happy to see that guy, pin his ears back and get going. Yeah.
Marcus Baker's illness, is this illness the reason he's out still?
Yes.
Christian, had tied for the leading tackle, 7 tackles, not that common for a nose tackle. Just what did you think about his opener?
I was happy to see him really get that first one under his belt. We're going to need to lean, heavily on Christian, and he knows that, and he's accepted that responsibility by the way he's demonstrated his play and passion and intensity for the game. So, it's not anything that surprises me. I think he's just he's built himself into where he is today, and he's worked extremely hard to be able to gain the respect out of this football team and be voted one of the captains. That's why he's sitting next to me. I lean very heavily on my leadership, and that's what we're going to need from him, throughout the entire year. And he's accepted that, and he'll continue to grow and learn what it takes each and every week to be a dominant force in the game plan, for our defense.
They had 70 plays. Do you know how many you played? 70
I believe 47 about, yeah.
Ford got a decent amount of playing time. Young guy Ford. Obviously nose tackle's demanding. Is that kind of you would like to see Ford or Ball, ideally, take a little of the, you'd rather see him playing 50 snaps than 65? Do you agree? agree with that, or what do you think about
I
the
don't want-
workload for the nose guard?
No, I want our defense off the field. I want the work to be handled by the offense. I don't want to punt, and I want my offense on the field. So, to say how many plays, those kind of things, you just go with the flow of the game and where you're at. What I do know is that, we have two other young men that are also, competing, to help this football team succeed at the nose guard position. That's Dalton Barksdale, and you mentioned Chris Ford. And Chris is a redshirt freshman, and he's, certainly one of those young men that has worked extremely hard. So I know from a standpoint of most plays played in the game, the offensive line played the most. They played 97 snaps. Now, it wasn't offense only, it was special teams. And that's why we give out a Workhorse Club award, because I don't think a lot of people realize how many snaps the big fellas up front on the offensive line play in a game, because they're involved in special teams also. So that's what we talk about. And Christian here, he was encouraging the offensive line. You just keep doing what you're doing. I'll stay over here. We'll keep giving you sideline encouragement. But he's ready to go. And Christian has done an outstanding job in our program, and this is his time.
How did Brandon Manasalis do in his first start?
A great question, because I was just talking to Coach Shorter. What a great job he did. And, just solid with his assignments, solid with his technique fundamentals. He competed. He played hard. He's standing right next to Big John Kling, which he's done an outstanding job. And then he's right next to Trevor. So, those guys really put him under his wing and really helped Brandon along. But, he's a very competitive, passionate young man. Quiet, but his play doesn't demonstrate that. And that's what I was pleased with. And that's what you look for. You look for that, you bring in a recruiting class, you want to see those young guys step up. And what we expect out of him is just like we did out of Andre Davis. Think about when Andre Davis moved over from nose guard to guard, and he started on the offensive line. He's been a 4-year starter for us, and, we look forward to seeing Brandon, develop in that same role and really help our team.
How much of the success that Willoughby and Joe had in the stats in the game, I know they're roommates. I know they've been pretty close coming up through the ranks a little bit. Can you put a quantifier on what the time they've spent together, the practice time, the off-season time contributed to what actually happened on the field between those two guys Saturday?
It's interesting, because I think what you find is that each of them respect each other. Each of them respects their ability as players. And when you say they're roommates, that's a very strong connection. It's just like Brandon Oliver and Khalil Mack. They were roommates. And, when you have that kind of special relationship player to player, I played with the left tackle that is still one of my very closest friends, and you form that bond and that relationship, and, you don't have to talk about it. Each of them is going to be there for each other. And that's what I saw, Saturday, and we're going to need to continue to see that grow and develop. It's exciting to see our kids. But the one thing about Joe has that relationship with Ronnie, but he also knows how important all those other guys are in terms of distributing the ball. And that's what you love about a decision maker running the offense. He can get the ball to a multitude of different guys. And, he's very poised in the pocket. So, Ronnie just stepped up, made some big plays. He wanted Joe to look good. Joe wanted him to look good. And it's exciting to see that, and we're going to need it all year. And that's what I think Joe felt with Alex, too. He felt the connection there. But now it's Ronnie's time. He's been patient, and he's worked extremely hard. And I'm just real pleased to see him, have that kind of day, and we're going to need more of those.
It's an easy comparison because of their size and because of their production, at least in one game. How much are Alex Newts and Ron Willoughby alike? Can you compare the two of them? From the outside, it looks like he's kind of a clone.
They're similar. Well, it was interesting because when Ron and, he came to our summer camp, in high school. And when I first laid eyes on Ron, that's the first thing I did. I did a comparison. We always do as coaches. You say, hey, I have this guy here. What's this kid look like compared to what we already have in our program? And that's what I saw in Ron. Great concentration, strong hands. He's got the bigger size that I like, playing that position. And, now he went up and, he just played very competitive, determined football. And that's what I saw. And I knew that eventually we were going to graduate Alex Nutz, and we needed to fill that role. And that's where, you keep telling these kids, just You know, there's some patience, and I know that they want to get in there right out of the gates, and sometimes it takes time, and that's what I saw. So I think he's had a lot of, you know, this pent-up, you know, passion and aggressiveness and determination to go out there and prove what he's all about. Now what we need to do is keep seeing that each and every week. But that's what I saw back when he was in high school, you know, and is a strong comparison to Alex. Good body frame, good leverage, being able to go over some of maybe those little bit smaller corners. So we're going to be excited to see him continue to grow.
How much of a measuring stick is this game kind of on the road, a tougher opponent before we play Baylor in a couple of weeks? We get a better gauge of this team in a situation against Army where you're on the road and a better opponent?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, certainly we know Army's it's gonna be a hard, physical, tough battle. You know, we're gonna have to be extremely disciplined. It's you know, they're calling for high 80s temperatures, so you know the challenge will be that our kids, you know, show that they can compete at the highest level. So yeah, that's no doubt. This is one of those games that you look forward to on the schedule. Any great competitor would. We're just enjoying the process of getting prepared for it, getting our kids, you know, back in the flow of the plan and being locked in, getting in, watching film, getting in, do some lifting, having a great practice today, intense Tuesday, and then, you know, see where we're at for 4 quarters against a very strong physical football team.
Christian, been a long time since this program's been 2-0. How much are you looking forward to making that happen?
I'm definitely looking forward to it. You know, it would be a very exciting thing for the program. We've definitely come a long way, and that'd be another great accomplishment for us to achieve. Yeah.
Coach, been able to talk to Bo at all since Saturday?
Brandon Oliver? No, I saw Khalil, and Khalil Mack was here. You know, it was great to have him. And, you know, I mentioned to him what a tremendous accomplishment to be able to make the San Diego Chargers roster. And obviously we're very proud of both those young men, as so many out there representing this great university. The UB Nation is out there strong and full force. And, you know, not only are you going to watch some exciting college football here for the UB Bulls, you're going to be able to watch some former Bulls play on Sunday, you know. But we certainly are proud that Brandon, it doesn't surprise me. I've said it many times. It does not surprise me. Brandon Oliver is the hardest working, pound for pound, the strongest guy. You know, smart, just a tough, tenacious kid, competitive. And, you know, he's just humble and grateful, and he's going to go out there and do what he does best. And that's, you know, lead his team and do whatever he can to help him win. And that's what I see out of Khalil, too. That's what we promote here.
Anything else? Coach and
Thank you.
Christian are available for one-on-one.
Good job.
Thank you, Coach.